It's 6:20 now, and there's a storm coming. I'm not sure that this is going to be ready to go by 10 o'clock tonight. We'll see.
Don't know about this, but I drove out into the middle of nowhere. I'm sitting at an oil tanker fueling area. It's where oil gets pumped into these tankers for storage. I moved from a orange-yellow zone, which would be like a 5 on that scale, and I ended up in a 2, and I'm literally 10 minutes away from home. So let's see how this turns out. Okay, it is Sunday night, and the Clear Sky app nailed it perfectly. It is a clear sky outside tonight. It's a little chilly, so I do have the dew warmer, the lens warmer that is on, and I think I've got it focused, and gonna let this run and see how it goes. So while I wait, just a couple of things on how I'm shooting this. I'm shooting this at ISO 1600. I probably should be shooting at 800. I did do a test shot of 20 seconds at ISO 800, and I got a lot of blurring on the stars, a little stretching on the stars. And again, I'm not mounted on a star tracker, so I expect a little blurring, but it was a little bit too much to what I liked. And so I cranked it up to 1600 and dropped the time to 15 seconds. And I think that's going to look better. I don't know. Again, first time out in like 6 or 7 years to shoot stuff. I'm shooting Orion, and even in the live view on the 5D Mark, I think I'm on the Mark III. Man, I could pick out Orion's belt pretty easily. Now I am shooting 20 millimeters, so I expect that I'm not going to be able to get a lot of detail, but I guess we'll find out. So in the meantime, I've got some podcasts to listen to. I've got a starry sky to look at, and I'm just going to wait probably about 30 minutes. I should be able to get a lot of shots in 30 minutes, and I have to do some dark frames apparently, so I'm going to do some dark frames, and then we'll see where we're at. I was really hoping that I was going to be able to get Orion and the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters in the same shot, but it's a little bit too wide a field, even for my 20 mil. So that's where we're at. So we'll see how this all turns out. It is cold outside.
Well, I'm done with my first night of astrophotography, and it was kind of like I remember it 8 years ago when I went out and shot just some stars for a time lapse. Dumb thing that I was doing. Only this time I went way far out of town. About 10 minutes, really. And really not that far out of town, but 10 minutes in the middle of a country, up and down some spooky roads. I had used Google Earth to kind of scope out a country road that had a little pull-off area. And that pull-off area is where they had some oil tankers that were just, storing oil. But it was out there in the middle of nowhere, and it was very hard to see, being dark as it was. And you could hear the coyotes, so that was kind of spooky. You could hear, first when I got out, I remember just hearing one yipping. But then when I went to go change the framing of a shot, there was a whole bunch of them, and that was kind of creepy. So I don't know if I'm going to continue to go all the way out there or not. Certainly it was a very dark location, but it was scary. So I've got the photos back, and I've got them here on the iPad, and I thought I would take a look and see what I got with my first image. So here we go. This was not what I was expecting. I mean, this is a mess, honestly. I mean, I tell my students to focus all the time, and I come back with this, and this is just unacceptable. You know, I know I was focusing right, because, you know, I was using the Sigma lens, and I know I was focusing right because the pinpoint of the star was super, super tiny. And I rocked that thing back and forth to see how it would look. So I know this was in focus. I think I have an idea what happened. In fact, let me look. I think I actually said something while I was out recording. Let's go back and look at this. Well, I am not sure how this is going to turn out, because for whatever reason, the battery that I had charged for the lens warmer crapped out after like 10 minutes. So I don't even know. I have a feeling that the lens fogged over. And so I have a feeling that all of my shots are poo. So not too happy, but we'll take a look and see what it looks like when we get back. So here's what I think happened. I focused my shot, and then after everything was focused, I put the lens warmer on, the little strip that goes around to keep the dew from fogging up the lens. And my bet is that when I was putting that on, the lens went out of focus. I'm almost positive that is. And the thing that's frustrating, because this happens a lot, I know we get excited about going out and doing things and hoping that they come out well, right? And so oftentimes we get so excited about the process, we forget like little simple things. One of the simple things that I probably could have done with this image is to get some tape and put it on the lens once I was focused, so that it wouldn't move when I was putting the heater element on there. I even took gaff tape with me. I made a little roll of gaff tape and put it in the tripod bag specifically so I could say, lock off the focus ring, lock off the focus ring. And then I didn't do it. I mean, this might make a really cool background, you know, for an app or something, right? Because it's out of focus, and so it'll cause more attention to be focused in the front. I'm so disappointed in this. And the other thing that I'm disappointed in, the other thing that I'm mad at, the other thing that really aggravates me is that, yes, indeed, that USB battery pack that I took with me to keep the heater element working, no, it was a bad one. I came home and I asked my wife, I said, you know, I could have swore this battery was charged up before I left. It drained in like less than 5 minutes. And then she said, oh, that must be the one that's bad. There's one we couldn't figure out which one keeps draining so quickly. Okay, so to solve that and to keep this from happening in the future, I went out and I purchased a big battery. It was a Jacoby, I want to say. I went and purchased that, and it's all charged up now for the next time that I go out. So that's one thing that I don't want to have happen again. The other thing I don't want to have happen again is having my camera get out of focus again. I mean, that's really unacceptable. Now, here's one thing that I did do. At one point when I was shooting, I was really hoping this first set came out, because I really was hoping this came out. But here's what I did. I decided that because I was able to get such a wide field of view that I thought I would reframe. So I did do a second batch of photos with the same Sigma lens. And I just moved and reframed everything. I took off the heater, the dew strip or the dew warmer or whatever that they call it. And I put on, I just left it off and I refocused everything and reframed everything. And so there's another image that I have here that we should take a look at. And this one is in focus. This is what focus should look like. This looks pretty good. We can see there's Orion, there's the Pleiades, there's even Venus in the lower right corner of the image. And this looks good. This looks like the way it's supposed to look. Now, the problem that I have, and the thing that as I'm looking at this, the thing that I don't understand is that if you look around the edge, there's all this smearing on the edge. If you look in the center, I'm doing, I think these are 25-second exposures, 22-second exposures, something like this, because I was using just something short of the rule of 500. But this weird smearing that's going on. I mean, Venus should have been it should be bright, but it shouldn't look like this weird insect flying in the corner of the frame. So I don't know why that is happening, and it looks to be all the way around the image, almost like some weird bokeh going on. Now, I do remember seeing some people on some of the YouTube channels that I've been watching talk about some of these 1.4 lenses that you do have to stop them down a little bit because it will create some weird smearing around the edges. But I didn't think that my lens was going to do that. But still, it's a pretty cool image. The lights that we see down on the horizon, you couldn't even see those lights when you were out there. But this 25-second exposure really, really shows off that horizon. And this is probably 6 miles away, maybe, is where these lights are probably at. That's a lot of light pollution. And I'm shooting due west where there's really nothing for miles. So for that to show up in the photo this drastically is kind of impressive. The other thing I didn't notice, now that I'm looking at this, I didn't notice that there were telephone lines overhead. And so I've got this ugly telephone pole right in the middle of the shot. But, it's all on me, right? This is all me. My excuse is, man, it was dark outside. It was really, really dark outside. I eventually on this night, I did have to come back because not only was it getting a little cold and those coyotes were kind of creeping me out, but the fog started rolling in. It was a clear night. And I remember the Clear Outside had said somewhere around 11:30, 12 o'clock, there were going to be some low clouds rolling in. And sure enough, the fog just started rolling in and creeping in. It kind of made it kind of scary driving home. But I like this second photo, this second batch of images. Looks pretty good. And I bet if I crop this so that we're not getting the blurring around the edge, maybe I'll try to keep Venus in the shot. But I think if I put I'm going to put a filter on this. I'm going to post it to Instagram. And I bet it looks better once I kind of darken up the skies a little bit and put a little filter on there and post that to Instagram. I bet it's going to look better. So, what did I learn on my first night of shooting? Well, number one, check and double check everything. Number two, coyotes are creepy. Number three, really, really double check my focus. Now, on the wide shot, granted, I did get something usable, right? After going out and shooting for, I think I was only out for an hour and a half max. So I'm pleased with the images that I got. I wish that the first batch had come out because the first batch that are out of focus were at ISO 800, so the sky's a little darker. These photos I know are at ISO 1600, and so the sky's a little bit brighter. I kind of wish the ISO 800s had come out So I think in the future, and I trust me, I'm going to go and do this again. I think I want to kind of check and double check everything just to make sure that I don't end up with something bad like this again. So anyway, it's a learning experience, right? So there you go. I hope you found that interesting. Thank you for continuing to watch this. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for ringing that bell and all the other things that we're supposed to do on our YouTube channels. I really appreciate that. If you have any comments or questions, or you want to yell at me about just making a stupid error, just use the comment section below. And if you can tell me why my Sigma lens has that weird blurring around the edge. I mean, I don't notice this when I'm shooting interviews or other things like that. So this may literally be a super low light situation where this is happening. I would love to find out. I have a feeling that it may be just the nature of this lens when it's open that wide. But yeah, if you want to share that, just do it down below. Thanks for watching.